Welcome back, my super crew. We're going to install the Nostrum high pressure fuel pump today. That will allow us to run that sweet, sweet corn juice of that E85 variety without having to mix with regular pump gas. We got 91 octane here. So rather than mix into an E60 blend that the factory high pressure fuel pump can handle, we'll put in this guy and just jump straight ahead to E85 all the way. So let's take a look at where we're going to start with this. We need to bleed the fuel lines first of all. So let's move to the fuse box. If you watched my DeechWorks 300C install video for the low pressure fuel pump that goes behind the rear seats, I'll put a link up here if you're interested for that video. So you want to have that low pressure fuel pump installed first of all. Then we need to bleed the fuel lines again. If you look at the bottom of the fuse cover, down here it does say 15 amp fuel pump. So that's going to be this blue guy down here. So you'll pull that out, start the car, and drain those fuel lines. You can also monitor that fuel pressure on the access port. If the car doesn't want to start with that fuse pulled, you could put it back in, start the car, then remove it, then that fuel pressure should start dropping. Thanks for clicking. If you enjoy this sort of content for 2015 and up WRX installs, look through my other videos, see if any of those interest you, and consider subscribing. So the pieces of the puzzle that we already have in place is we have the low pressure fuel pump. So that is the fuel pump that actually goes in the gas tank underneath of the seats. We've already done that. We did a video on that. I have the DeechWorks 300C or DW300C, so that's already installed. We have the Cobb Flex Fuel kit, so that's installed underneath the hood. Also videos on those. So now we're going with the Nostrum high pressure fuel pump. Now this guy is actually capable of all the way up to 100% ethanol content, or E100. We're not gonna go that high. And actually, it's more of a convenience just being able to put in the E85 just as a convenience factor. Because even with the E60 blend, on paper with the build that I have, I could probably get fairly close to 400 wheel horsepower with where it's at now. So we're gonna have even more ethanol content, more power potential, but I'm still shooting for about 350 wheel torque because that seems like kind of a safe point on this FA20 motor. So we'll try to get around 350 wheel torque on the next dyno tune. If horsepower goes above that, great, but we'll stay in that ballpark again. We're just doing the pump for kind of a convenience thing, but I'm pretty excited. Let's start taking a look at what it comes with in the box. So it does come with instructions, so that's nice. I have seen some videos on it as well. So included instructions, always a nice thing to have. This card it comes with is kind of interesting. The Nostrum Subaru FA20 high pressure fuel pump provides 40% increase in fuel capacity versus the stock pump. It is ethanol compatible up to E100, capable of 600 plus wheel horsepower on E85. You're gonna have a hell of a built motor if you want to get up to 600 plus. Oh, take advantage of the new pump's increased fuel capacity. You must also upgrade your vehicle's in-tank low pressure fuel pump. Again, the one under the back seats that we did. So that was taken care of. Due to the low pressure fuel pump's frequency are seen at high RPMs and high power outputs. And this was good to know. Functionally, your vehicle does not require calibration changes to operate with the Nostrum high pressure fuel pump. So that is good. We can drop that in before we do the tune. So we'll have that all ready. Let's start taking things apart and see where we go from here. Another fun fact that I looked up what the octane rating is for ethanol blends. So if you had E60, that would equate to 103.8 octane. Now E85, that is going to be an octane rating of 108. So compare that to 91 octane we have here in a lot of the western United States. That's going to be a lot of potential for power gains. Ethanol also burns cooler, and allows your tuner to be much more aggressive with the timing and get those horsepower and torque numbers up. In the fuse box, you have a fuse removal tool. So just try to grab this 15 amp here for the fuel pump. All right, we got that pulled out. Now let's try to start the car carefully. Set this down here, try not to lose it. So we'll bleed out those fuel lines. We got the access port set up. Let's see if that comes up. Pause the music. All right. Fuel pressure. Oh, 300s, 400s. So it'll start to die out as that fuel bleeds out of there. Focus. So this will take maybe a couple minutes. Oh, she's dying. She's dying. 42 PSI. And she's out of fuel. All right, I got the battery pulled out for the high pressure fuel pump. We got this black metal plate down here. So, I'm trying to see, so it has a screw right there holding on that metal plate going over the high pressure fuel pump. And then there's another one just right back there. I might be able to sneak that out without having to take off this intercooler pipe. Let's see if I can get that metal plate off. So again, there's our metal shield. There is a wiring clip right there. You gotta unattach that. Then there was that one bolt right there. Then there was another bolt back here. It connects to the intake manifold. Probably can't see it very well. So let me try to pull that shield out. All right, so there's that metal cover. Then there is a foam shroud covering the fuel pump. So let me get that pulled out. Alright, and there is our factory high pressure fuel pump. So we have the foam cover removed off the high pressure fuel pump. Now there's a hard line, fuel line right here. It also has a foam cover. So that covers a 17 millimeter bolt to that hard fuel line. Let me see if I can take this foam off, and we can get to that a little easier. Back here, it snakes its way. Okay, this foam cover, just lift it up enough so you can get to this hard line here. You don't have to take it all the way off back here. So you have a screw like this on each side. That's a T40. So pick up one of those. Okay, looking from this direction. So, high pressure fuel pump. Back here, this blue line. So we have paper towels underneath it there. And that blue plastic clip will just click off of there, and we'll catch up the remaining fuel with the paper towel. So let me unclick that. Now I'm not going to remove it all the way because it is up close against the TGVs right there, you can see. So I'll probably just loosen it. Then once we get the rest of the assembly loosened up, then we can completely remove that fuel line. So the blue clip is unattached, but we can't pull that hose out quite yet because again, it's up against the TGV. So we'll move over to this side. We will get some paper towels underneath. So this is the hard line, 17 millimeters. So I'll loosen that. Got some towels underneath. I'll grab some more towels just in case. So we'll loosen this side first, then we'll get to those T40s on each side. Then we can pull it up, then we can blow up. Then we can disconnect the blue tab on the other end of the fuel line. Oh, Hear it fizzling a little bit, draining out. I just gave it a little loosening. Alright. Dab that up, continue unscrewing it. So again, that was a 17mm on this hard line. It's got that much thread, and it's going to take a little while because you can only get so much rotation on your spanner wrench. Just be patient and that'll come off. Now we can get to the two T40 bolts, one there, and then one on the other side. And we start lifting this thing out. Okay, so on this side, in the center, so that's our T40 socket, I'm going to give it an extension, come at it this way. So those are on there with about 15 foot-pounds. Let me work at that for a sec, and we'll get the other side. Then this side, I'm not using any extension. I can get to it there. So we'll try to sneak that guy out of here without having to remove this intercooler pipe. So this one's broke loose. Then we'll get to this fuel line back there. I just have a glove covering up my battery terminal so I don't arc on anything there. We got the T40s pulled out on each side. So we do have the blue clip fuel line on that side. We should be able to lift it up and then disconnect it. The tab's already undone. Where's my towel? Now we have the fuel pressure mostly relieved, so we should be okay, and we should be able to sneak it out underneath this intercooler piping. There we go. So let's see if we can get this blue clip line. Yeah, fuel pressure was already bleeded out when we did the hard line on the other side. It's just dripping a little bit. Alright, let's pull this out. Oh, one more thing. We do have a wiring harness. Didn't see it because I had my paper towels under there. So under here, just have a clip right there. There we go. Okay, now it's free. There's the old one. There's the new one. They look pretty much the same, but they're not. Alright, so we'll remove the protective covers over the spring lifter mechanism here. So you do have to oil up with just regular motor oil. This O-ring down here and put a little oil on top. Looks like they already have it oiled up from the factory. It's hard to focus there, but it is oiled up. I might put a little more on the top there. We'll drop this sucker back in. Alright, let's squeeze this back in here. So on this side, the low pressure fuel line, I'm going to see if I can reattach that line before I seat it in completely. Again, because of the TGVs back here, we're not going to be able to fit on that end very easily if we don't get it on first. So stick that on all the way and click it in place. There we go. Now, let's see if we can get the fuel lifter in there. Alright, let's set the torque wrench. We got 15.5 foot-pounds, and that's on those T40 bolts down there on each side. So I got those hand threaded. There we go. We'll do the other side. Alright, got the T40s tightened down on each side. So we do have the electrical connection back here. There we go. right down there. And we got that low pressure fuel line already connected. So we'll screw on the high pressure fuel line, again with that 17 millimeter there. All right, there it is. Tighten down back on this side. Now remember we had that foam shroud over the high pressure fuel pump, and then this covered it up, this metal plate. I'm gonna leave those off for a minute. Put the battery back in so we can start the car back up. So we'll put in our 15 amp fuse for the fuel pump again. Start the car up, make sure there's no leaks. So I'll leave the battery kind of loose. We'll just connect the terminals, get it started up, check for leaks. Also, if you didn't see the Cobb Flex Fuel sensor, there it is right there. So it's just bolted up, this bottom finger of the fuse box. It's got another piece that runs up here. Let's get that battery put back in. Fuse back in. There we go. Safety first. All right, we'll try to start it back up. You're gonna wanna prime your low pressure fuel pump a few times. By that, you'd wanna just turn it over a couple times. Turn it on that much. Here's the fuel pump behind me, the low pressure fuel pump. Do that a couple times. See what the access port says. So we're just feeding fuel up to the front of the car. Alright, now let's try to start it. Alright, focus, fuel pressure, 2100s. That escalated quickly. Alright, we'll let it run for a bit and we'll double check for leaks. Alright, I let it run for about 5 minutes. No leaks. Let it get up to operating temperature. Looks pretty good. We'll get this foam piece back over the high pressure fuel line. Then that foam cover on the other side too. We'll put that on, metal shield. And we'll put the battery back in securely with the battery tie down. Okay, so this is the factory fuel pump, high pressure fuel pump. Now what I wanted to show you, see I was starting to put the caps back on here just for storage. I put the O-ring that came off the Nostrum, so when I was first trying to line it up, put in the Nostrum pump, this little O-ring here just snapped. Like it is super shoestring spaghetti pasta fragile, so be super careful with that. So I took off the one from the Nostrum, being this one that broke, and then took the one off of the factory one and put it on the Nostrum. So this is the broken one that was on the Nostrum. So second time I got it in there, just be really careful putting it in. So we'll get that package back up, just store it away in case I ever need it. Something else that was kind of interesting. So this freaking fuel pump is $888. So I did a Google search to see if there was any place that would sell it with tax-free. So that's going to depend on which state is selling the part and probably which state it's shipping to. Anyway, I came across Subi Mods, and sure enough, I went to their website, added it to the cart, and they'd ship it for free and no sales tax. And it turns out they are in Connecticut. I'm in Utah, and it came with this packing slip. So you see down here, so it showed up pretty quick. Why? Because it was from Salt Lake. That address, I'm pretty sure that's Rally Sport Direct. That must be one of their subsidiaries. I found a loop in the system. So a little bit of brevity there from that purchase. So we'll get this retuned again. So this is going to be my third tune. First time I went to Simple Performance in Salt Lake. Second time I went to Turbo Labs in Orem, Utah. They did a great job too. I think I'm going to go for Simple Performance again. They usually take a while to get into, so I'll get a pre-inspection scheduled and then a tune scheduled. They have a Mustang dyno, so again we'll try to get the 350 wheel torque and see how much horsepower we get to go along with that. It might go above 350. They're not going to line up exactly 350 and 350. Hey guys, I appreciate you watching my video. Again, if you like this sort of stuff, browse through my channel and see if there's any other videos that interest you and consider subscribing. And I'm out.
You talking to me? I don't see anyone else here. You must be talking to me. What, you want a piece of me?